to continue this portion of this next chapter of the talk by inviting Reverend Jeanie to come up. Reverend Jeanie has been a wonderful teacher and has shared with me many stories in her life where she met resistance and said, no, I will not let the resistance keep me from shining and being who I am. I will put her on this platform over and over and over again because she is a shining example, just as the Tuskegee Airmen are, of what it means to not let the world determine who you're going to be, but to shine the beautiful light of the world that you are. Will you please welcome Jeanie Ward?
Thank you, Richard. Give him a hand. What a great talk. Oh, this microphone, thank you, Dave. Let me grab a glass of water and take after Richard here in case I get thirsty. Thank you all for being here this morning and for showing up. The song that was wafting through my mind as Richard was finishing his talk was that song, United We Stand, Divided We Fall. Do you remember that one a few years ago? And I want to honor the courage that each and every one of you have to stand in your truth every single day. For those of you who follow this teaching, standing on the shoulders of these men and so many people throughout time that have stood in the truth of who they are. Because it takes courage to follow this teaching. We're kind of, we're looked at a little different sometimes, which is a really nice thing, actually, when you learn to appreciate the truth of who you are, when you learn to appreciate the differences that each and every one of us carry within us. My father, actually, I wore this tie today. I don't typically wear a tie, but I enjoy it sometimes because it makes me think of my dad. Not that he would have worn this particular one, but I might have been able to talk him into it when I would say, hey, Dad, it says boss on the back. He would have liked that. But he served in the Air Force for 25 years. And actually, he met my mom in China. My mom was Russian. She was born in Manchuria, China, after her family came out of communist Russia and to China. And my dad, and I want to meet you guys, by the way, when we're done today, because my dad was an airplane mechanic. He wanted to fly, but that was a dream that was unfulfilled for him. But still, like for some of us sometimes, we may not have that exact dream that we want, but we never know what the universe has in mind for us. So when we live in gratitude and appreciation and we learn to say yes to whatever it is that the divine has in mind for us, we live a very fulfilled and enriched life. And my dad, he did his thing for 25 years in the military. He wore that uniform. In fact, that's how I learned to tie a tie. I kind of followed him around, and my mom would have me in the kitchen. My dad would have me over here doing his thing. So I had a nice integration, a nice balance of many things that I learned. And here now at Unity, here we are. We have the opportunity, as Richard so beautifully put in his talk, to stand in the truth of who we are. How do we take these principles that we learn at Unity? What is it about unity that's so powerful? How many of you might say, well, you know what, sometimes I kind of stayed a little small and I was in that place of uniformity or conformity. I know for me, I can share with you very briefly the first day I walked into this church. And actually, I came here to prove the church wrong. Yeah, I knew how to do that. I learned that really well from my dad about always being right. Love you, Dad. But I came here because I saw an ad in the Aquarius magazine 12 years ago. And it said, this church honors all lifestyles. And I went, yeah, right. You're in Cobb County? Really? You've got to be kidding me. For most of my life, knowing that I was different from my earliest memory as a gay woman, lesbian, whatever word you want to use, it doesn't matter because that does not define who I am. It's a label. It's a word. So I came here. I sat right over there, kind of where Carla is. And I listened to this message from Carol O'Connell. I heard her say things I had never heard before. And I thought, you've got to be kidding. I was like, pinch me. I'm hearing things that say I'm okay. I'm hearing things that are honoring who I am. I thought, truly, I must be dreaming. I had 2 questions for Carol after service that day. And in that space and time, I was in a very long-term relationship, which ended about a year after I started coming here. Life happens. And that's the beauty of it. But I said to Carol, well, how does Unity really feel about gay people? Because I still wasn't a believer. And she said, well, Jeanie, if somebody has an issue with you, you know what? It's their issue. Go figure. I thought, oh my God, I'd hit the jackpot. And then I had another question. My partner and I decided if we made it to 25 years, we were at about 21, 22 at that time, we would have a commitment ceremony. And I'm thinking, ooh, in Cobb County, Georgia? Wow. And she said, absolutely, Jeanie, I would be honored to do that. Well, that never happened, but that's not the point. The point is, at this place called Unity North and in our lives, and because of men like the Tuskegee Airmen and every person that Richard articulated in his talk, we do have the opportunity to live freely expressed as that divine expression. And when we are one and part of that whole, and we live out of that place, it's easy, because life isn't always easy. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it really sucks, excuse me, but it does. So we get to come here and we get to hold hands. We get to stand on each other's shoulders, actually. So what I want to offer you are 5 ideas to help you connect to and remember when you forget and you start finding yourself maybe like conforming a little bit or needing to be like everybody else because you are in that place of separation. We forget sometimes the truth of who we are. It's very easy sometimes to get caught up in the world out there. So I want to offer you actually the word unity. That's what I'm going to offer you this morning. You can jot these down if you'd like. And the first letter is U. What do you think that might be? What is your understanding? What is it that you know about life? This is really actually out of the first principle of unity, that there is a power and presence in, around, and through all things, that there is more than enough to go around. It's a consciousness of abundance. It's a consciousness of prosperity. That is not what I grew up with. I grew up with asking my father at some point in time, why do you call your monthly Air Force check a relief check? I thought that's what it was called, because it would relieve all the burdens of the financial pressures that we had. So it was a consciousness born out of money doesn't grow on trees and all of that. So for you today, in this moment, if you asked yourself, what is your understanding of life, of why you're here? Do you believe you're part of the whole? Do you believe you're connected to Source? And if not, what are you called to do? What are you called to do every single day to strengthen your faith rather than walking in fear? That's a question only you can answer. So I offer that to you today. What is your understanding of that? So then we move on to the N. Anybody have a guess what that might be? How about now? Eckhart Tolle, the power of now. We hear about it all the time. When we're so busy living in the past of all the stuff we're still carrying around with us, or we're living in regret, or we're trying to undo something, or we're carrying around unforgiveness, which we know is like taking poison and expecting it to do something to somebody else, or we're so busy living in the future, worried about what is yet to be. Richard reminded us a couple weeks ago, we borrow trouble from the future. So how do you live your life in this moment? Now, to me, is a new opportunity of wisdom. Every moment when you are connected to and you are plugged into the person sitting next to you, take a moment and just look at the person next to you. Look into their eyes. Let's see the face of God in them, that oneness, that connectedness. I invite you to do this every day. Wherever you go, I don't care if in the grocery store, in the restaurant, look into that person's eyes. They might think you're kind of weird, but that's okay. We are anyway, and that's a good thing. So I invite you to be here now. Invest your energy in this moment, because that's how creation works. We create the next moment by living in this one. Live it in gratitude and appreciation for everything, for the ability that you have every day and the freedom to choose. That's your right. So make a wise choice. So let's move on to the I in unity. Wayne Dyer, in his latest book, Wishes Fulfilled, the I am. We sing that beautiful song here. I am, you are, we are, God is. Moses, I am that I am. Not maybe, not hopefully, not someday, but right now. I am all that is. And I have the opportunity to choose that every single day. And if you get confused or you get scared, you get to come to a place like Unity North and connect with people who can hold a space for you, like Kendra is doing today, a sacred space just for you. You are that divine expression, the I am. Very powerful. So work with that tool and read that book too. It's very powerful to read about Wayne Dyer and his journey with leukemia. Every single one of us are on a journey. Anchor into the I am and watch your life be transformed. So we're going to move into the T. I kind of played around with this when I was creating this talk, and I thought, oh, we could stand tall. I kind of do that anyway. My friend Bill, wherever he is, who was in first service, Bill Bailey and I, we get together. We're like the Twin Towers, you know, in basketball, that is, from years ago. Hakeem Olajuwon, and I can't remember the other gentleman's name. I'm an old basketball player. Stand tall in your truth. Once again, that takes you back to the first you. What is your understanding? What is your truth today? If I asked you to write it down right now, could you? Or would you go, well, you know, Jeanie, I'm not really sure. I invite you, once again, the I could even be that place of going inside, getting in touch with that, so that you can get clear about the truth of who you are and why you are here. Every single person, when I look out here right now, the beautiful, unique, divine expressions, every single face of God, part of the whole, like Richard talked about, the hand, the foot, and sometimes a butt, absolutely. Whatever it is for you, stand in that place. Get clear. It's hard to move forward in your life. It's hard to be prosperous and all of those things when you don't have a clue. So stand in your truth and stand tall in that place. And we're going to move on in to the why, which is very easy. Not always to do, but it's very simple. It's saying yes. How much of your life do you spend settling? These gentlemen, had they not said yes to the challenge that stood in front of them and the courage that it took for them to anchor into what they knew to be true in the face of everything that they dealt with? I can tell you at times in my life, you know, we'll get into that talk in July sometime, but when I had to stand there, and at times that I would shrink back because I was afraid of what people would think of me, what people would say about me. I lived a double life for a long time because I couldn't let anybody know the truth of who I am. Not anymore. Because I know that I am here for something special, and if nothing else, if I can touch one person's life and say to them, you are okay just as you are. God does not make mistakes. Yes, absolutely. I want to offer you a quote, and then I'm going to invite you after that to do something with everyone here today. I couldn't find the author of this quote, but it says, work for a cause, not for applause. Live your life to express, not to impress. Don't strive to make your presence noticed. Just make your absence felt. As a whole, as one, when a part of the whole is off base, not aligned, I think of a disturbance in the force, right? We feel it. What I do to you, I do to me. Like Richard said earlier, there is no private good. When you're celebrating something, I'm celebrating right there with you. If my ego's having an issue, I need to have a conversation with my ego and tell it to hit the road. That's what I need to do. And I can do that when I stand in the truth of who I am. And I'm going to invite you to stand right now with me. Please, I know you can. I've seen you do it before. And I know you have a voice because I heard it earlier. And I want you to take a deep breath with me in a minute. What we're going to do, we're going to feel like the YMCA, right? We are going to go to like this. And we're going to say yes. And I want you to conjure up what it is you want your expression to be. Get in touch with that. Take a deep breath. And on the count of 3, I want to see those arms up. I want you to see you anchored in and say it out loud like you mean it. Okay? All right. On a count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Yes! Beautiful. Thank you all so much. And Richard's going to come up here and finish off the service. You all are a blessing in my life. I'm honored to be here as part of this wonderful family. And God bless every one of you and celebrate these wonderful men. Meet us for the movie downstairs. Thank you so much.